The Physical Environment of the Caribbean Region, Unit 10, page 38. How are Caribbean lands alike and different? The physical environment of the Caribbean means the natural features of the region. Caribbean lands are alike physically in that they are located in the same general area. Caribbean lands are surrounded by the same major water bodies. The Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea are two large water bodies which surround the Caribbean countries. The Caribbean Sea stretches from west to south, while the Atlantic Ocean stretches from east to north of the islands. Some of these countries are completely surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, and so they are called islands. The Caribbean Sea washes the coast of the mainland countries. Caribbean lands have similar landforms. Some of the islands are formed from volcanic rocks, while others are formed from limestone. Approximately 3/4 of Jamaica's land surface is comprised of limestone. Most of the Caribbean region is located in the tropical zone, which is near the equator. The climate of the Caribbean countries is similar in that every country experiences high temperatures and sunny days all year, with the exception of a few rainy periods and cool days in the months of December to February. The region also enjoys a tropical marine climate because of the cooling effects of the sea. Caribbean islands experience the same kind of natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, droughts, hurricanes, and volcanic eruptions. The inhabitants of the Caribbean countries are descendants of Africans, Europeans, Asians, and Amerindians. Caribbean countries vary in shape and size. Some of the countries are relatively large, while others are quite small. Jamaica is the third largest island in the Greater Antilles. The landform of the region is also quite different. Some countries are mountainous while others are flat. For example, Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago have high mountain ranges, while islands such as the Cayman Islands, Barbados, and the Turks and Caicos Islands are flat. And at the bottom of the page, we have Cuba being shown here and Trinidad and Tobago. So we have the flags that go along with that, just for memory's sake. We move now from page 38 to page 39. Differences in climate in the region. Sources of rainfall differ in the Caribbean region. The region falls into three groups. 1. The Greater Antilles. 2. The Southern Caribbean. And 3. The Eastern Caribbean. The rainfall for each group is influenced in different ways. The Greater Antilles. The rainfall of the Greater Antilles is influenced by the height of the mountains and the size of the country. Some Caribbean countries receive relief rainfall, which is caused by the winds and high mountains of the region. Mountains affect the rainfall because they are in the path of the trade winds. The windward side, that is the side of the mountain facing the wind, gets most of the rain, while the leeward side, that is the side of the mountain away from the wind, is generally dry. For example, in Jamaica, Portland, which is on the windward side of the Blue Mountain, gets heavy rain, while Kingston, on the leeward side, gets less rain. The Greater Antilles also receive convectional rainfall. This type of rainfall is experienced mainly in the afternoons during the summer. So here we have a diagram that shows the mountain. We have the windward side, moist and unstable trade winds, and these bump into the mountain and they need to go over the mountain. And on the other side, the leeward side, we have the rain shadow. So if we look also at the rainfall pattern, it says on the windward side, heavy rain. To the top, very heavy rain. And on the leeward side, it says light rain. So this is why on the Portland side of the Blue Mountains, you would have everything over there being nice and lush and green and lots of moss being visible on the plants and stones and houses there, while in Kingston it tends to be very dry. Now we move on to the Southern Caribbean. Winds play an integral part in the climate of the Caribbean region. The northeast and southeast trade winds from the Atlantic Ocean affect the southern regions of the Caribbean. There are times when the weather is generally fine, and other times the region gets long and heavy rainfall. For example, Guyana gets heavy rainfall in December and between May and June, while Trinidad gets heavy rainfall in July and August. Now we move to the Eastern Caribbean. The climate in the Eastern Caribbean is affected by the easterly and westerly waves. The easterly waves, which are formed over West Africa before moving across the Atlantic Ocean, produce rain depending on their speed. The westerly waves formed in the Atlantic Ocean produce rain. This wave sometimes develops into hurricanes between the months of June and November. The Lesser Antilles gets most of its rain during the hurricane season. Now we turn over to page 40, where we look at the unit review. Question 1. Name the two bodies of water that surround the Caribbean territories. 1 and 2. Number 2. A. In which climatic zone does the Caribbean lie? B. What climatic type is common to the region? 3. Use your dictionary to find the meanings of the following words: disaster, environment, marine, and eruption. Number 4. What are two common physical features of the Caribbean region? And the two spaces are provided there. Number 5. A. What winds blow in the region? B. How does the wind affect the climate of the region? Number 6. Explain why the windward side of the mountain gets more rain than the leeward side. Number 7. A. Name at least 3 natural disasters that affect the Caribbean region. B. What are the effects of any 2 of these disasters? Number 8. Unscramble the following letters to find out the names of some natural disasters. And we have A, B, C, and D. Number 9. What factors affect the climate in the Caribbean region? Number 10. Write the names of 2 mainland countries that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. Now we turn to page 41. Use the graph to answer items 11 to 15. So the graph here has on its x-axis, that is the horizontal axis, the months of the year. The graph has on its y-axis, that is the vertical axis, the average rainfall in millimeters. So take for example in January we have 300 millimeters, while in June we have 500 millimeters, and in December we have 350 millimeters of rainfall. Question 11. Which month had the highest rainfall? Question 12. How many milliliters of rain fell during the month of December? Question 13. Which month was the driest? Question 14. Which 2 months had the same amount of rainfall? Question 15. How many millimeters of rain fell during the months of January, November, and December? Question 16. At what time of year does the hurricane season begin and end in the Caribbean region? Finally, on your own. 1. Write a letter to a pen pal in Japan telling him or her about how the Caribbean regions are alike. 2. Use your atlas and identify the main mountain ranges and their heights in Jamaica, Grenada, Trinidad, Dominica, Colombia, and Venezuela. 3. How does each of the following disasters affect people, buildings, and animals? A. Hurricanes, B. Drought, C. Flooding, and D. Earthquakes. So this brings us to the end of our unit. So, some of the important concepts were the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, islands, the tropical zone, the tropical marine climate, natural disasters, relief rainfall, mountains, windward side, leeward side, convectional rainfall, and trade winds. So these are some of the ideas that help us to understand how Caribbean lands are alike and different. Please take time to review the unit. Make sure that you do this section on your own. And in our next unit, we will be talking about resources of the Caribbean. Thank you very much for listening.